You don't get robbed on the bus because you're unlucky. You get robbed because you made it easy. Today I will share a bunch of tips and tricks, field tested over years of traveling in the developing world by bus all over the place, to avoid being victimized. This is Street Smart on the Ground, Bus Safety Edition, where I answer your questions and address specific topics to help you travel safely by bus in the developing world. Now, episode 6 today, briefly a recap. Episode 1, why buses are so popular in the developing world. 2, if there's a scam and the driver is in on it, what do you do? 3, night buses. 4 was terminals. 5, road closures, and especially sudden road closures. And today, episode 6, how to stay safe while you're traveling by bus. Keep in mind, most of the people on the bus, they just want to get to where they're going. They're not trying to do anything, they don't want anything from you, but there's always a chance that there's 1 or 2 people on the bus that probably do want to try and steal your stuff. Most of the scams are going to happen off the bus in the terminal or when the bus is at the terminal, because when the bus is in motion, you got to pay to be on the bus, and let's just say people, thieves and scammers, are interested in operating with as little overhead as possible. But let's say 1. The first thing to be aware of on the bus is awareness, situational awareness. Make sure you're paying attention to everybody around you. So don't be buried in your phone and totally distracted. Don't fall asleep on the bus. That's one of the worst things you can do. Usually you'll be able to tell who's going to be a problem just by paying attention. Somebody looking at you a bit too much, maybe staring at you, checking out your bag, something like that. Those are the people, I will stare them down. I will let them know, I see you watching me. I know what you're doing. And F-A-F-O, right? F around and find out. Find somebody else to victimize. I'm not your guy. Very simple, just pay attention to what's going on around you. Maybe your seatmate is asking you a bunch of questions. They're kind of fishing for information. You don't have to tell them real stuff. You can make up a fake name, a fake story. You can distract them from the conversation. I like to put in earbuds and just be listening to audiobooks on the bus, and that way pretty much nobody talks to me at all. Having said that, I just came from Colombia back to Ecuador yesterday in a microbus, so like a minivan kind of thing, and I had a 2-hour conversation with the guy next to me. Guy put him in his mid-30s, early to mid-30s, traveling with his mom and family members. Super nice guy. We didn't talk about any personal stuff. We talked about the economy, about what's going on in Colombia, about politics, about life in general, for 2 hours. Guy wasn't fishing for information, no issues. So again, situational awareness, just pay attention to the kinds of people that are paying attention to you and that are maybe asking you a bit too much personal information. You don't need to tell them the truth. You can make up a whole story, because chances are their intention is not they want to get to know you, it's they want to get to know how can they steal your stuff. 2, blend in. I talked about this in a bunch of other videos. Go gray rock, so you don't want to stand out in any way. Basically, no jewelry, no show of wealth, no fancy new shoes or nice new clothes or new luggage, new bag, whatever. My stuff is more beat up than most of the local stuff on the bus. Like this hat, probably can't see it, this is sewn up, this is sewn up. My clothes have holes and stains on them. My bags have been patched multiple times. Nobody's going to look at me and say, that guy's got stuff I want to steal. I try to look at the way the locals dress, and I try to dress either at that level or ideally a little bit below to avoid attracting any attention to myself. Very easy to do. I try to keep a low profile, blend in, and that's it. So 1, awareness. 2, don't stand out or blend in. And 3, let's say you're uncomfortable and there's somebody you see they're staring at you and you've tried to stare them down and that didn't work. There's 2 people basically running the bus. There's the driver, and I don't know the title of the other person, the assistant that collects fares and moves baggage around and answers questions, things like that. So you can call that person over and just say, look, I don't feel comfortable. This person is giving me too much attention. Do you mind if I switch seats? And if it gets really bad and they're not going to help you, you think maybe they're complicit in this scam, you can just exit the bus. Right? If you're really uncomfortable, and always trust your gut, on top of situational awareness, always trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is. You can leave at a terminal before your ultimate stop and just catch a different bus if it gets that bad. I've never had to do that. I have had people try to scam me on the bus, in bus terminals, on the street, all over the place. But I know what to look for, and I know what my options are in identifying these people and then avoiding them entirely. So this isn't fear porn. I'm not trying to freak you out. Just saying, pay attention, blend in, and realize you have options. Now this is, like I said, episode 6. If you have any questions about anything I've covered in this series, and the reason I have this series is because these are very important tips that I've learned over decades of traveling in the developing world. Central America, South America, and Southeast Asia, mostly. These are tips, and this is a resource I wish had existed when I first came out on the road, but because I've been on the road for years, and because I've had a lot of experience in these different parts of the world, I'm putting them together in this resource. And if you watch these episodes and follow the information in them, you can avoid almost all of the scams on buses that there are. I'm not saying it's a guarantee, but you'll know what to look for, and you'll know what to do if you feel that you're in an uncomfortable or untenable situation. If the series has been useful, and I'm capping it here temporarily, if you have any questions about stuff I've covered, or hey, could you cover this other thing, I'm happy to do more episodes, but I have other on-the-ground series that I want to start populating and creating additional resources for fellow travelers. So again, all the information you need to stay safe on the bus is in these videos. If I missed something or you have more questions, please drop a comment. Also, please like, subscribe, and share these videos with anybody you think would benefit by them. I'm trying to pay forward lessons that I've learned over the years. None of this is fluff or theory. This is road-tested strategies that work to keep you safe while you're traveling. Thanks for stopping by. Happy trails. See you out on the ground next Wednesday.